Thank you, Arun. Thank you, Arun. Good morning to all of you. It has been really cold weather outside. Now, coming to EV, if you look to overall, what I would like to look from the trend, the requirement, experience at Delhi, and future therefrom. If you look to India has been drawing always parallel to what has happened elsewhere. And where elsewhere, which area to look at it. If you look to India, when US we are not far behind. If you look to last year, total country adoption of electric vehicle is only 9%. India is 7.2%. So we are not far behind. But when you compare this with bigger cities or maybe cities in that country, then the wide varieties are there. If you talk about Delhi in particular, December month, our electric vehicle adoption has been 19.5%. Means new sales vehicles, 19.5% has been only electrical vehicles. Compared to this, if you look to Oslo, it is almost more than 75%. So naturally, a lot to catch up. Now, one side when we talk about the trend, we cannot just compare with European cities wherein it's a very small, GDP level is very high, and volume requirement is not so much. In fact, many of these are shrinking in population, wherein our case is different. So when we go next is, when electric vehicle adoption is taking place, policy is favoring, it is also towards our ambition to go to net zero by 2070. And all these cities, to make them more livable, it is beyond any doubt that yes, it is required. Next come, what is that infra requirement for? Now, infra requirement, normally people are talking about, if you look to government paper or different research papers also, they fall in 4 categories. One is pure public, means it is accessible to everyone. Second is semi-public, which may be like inside a commercial building where some charging facilities are available. Third is private, which is purely captive. And fourth is battery swapping stations. So these are the 4 varieties of infrastructure which come in. And typically, if you talk about 500 square feet is required for charging 3-4 vehicles, and another is related infrastructure in terms of the type of electricity requirement. Who sets up these infrastructure? Again, there can be 4 categories. It can be utility-led, means power utility, if it is there, it can be led by them. It can be by automobile manufacturers, because their charging requirement they know better. And to promote their vehicle, they can set it up. The third is government-led. Means if the government forces, this is what the infrastructure they want to create. And fourth, but not the least, is private-led, means captive. People would like to do their own. Now, what is the technical requirement for setting it up? Apart from this and the type of charging requirement, if you categorize, there are 8-10 points which comes to mind. One is the nature of the type of vehicle. If it is 2-wheeler, it is 4-wheeler. If it is a heavy vehicle, the requirement will change. The frequency of charging requirement means the type of running it does. That also be different. The statutory requirement, because some land uses may be permitting to use for it, some of it may not. The type of affordability it will be creating, because the cost which is going to set up, because if nearby some electric substation is not there, you cannot set up such high. A small setup also 11 kV line is required, but the bigger one you need for 33 kV line. So that type of challenges do come in. In fact, though it is linked to Delhi experience, people also feared in name of EV charging station whether people will grab the land. So that type of restriction was there. There was another challenge which was being seen in terms of, because the technology is evolving very fast. Whatever is charging taking place, type 1, type 2 has come. But you know that the way this charging system is there, fast charging now in cell phone, you see that earlier that used to take 1 hour, now in 15 minutes you can charge. Here fast charging has come and new changes are going to come. And whatever charging station you are setting up shall be compatible with the new technology, technological obsolescence which is going to take place. So on and so forth. It shall have the visibility, it shall have the marketability so that people will be able to access it. If you want to, like, near me, you can search in Google today. Very important experience that Delhi had. If you see, go around in many colonies, there is no dedicated parking space for individuals. They park anywhere. So, creating an infrastructure, European experience was not one-to-one related here. Because when you are parking anywhere, then your requirement may also shift. And the type of infrastructure you have today and the type of infrastructure you want to create, whether in terms of charging station or swiping stations. And coming to the master plan which was being built, fortunately or unfortunately, see, ED-REPL is also involved in lots of development of master plans. EV charging station specifically has not been mentioned there. So you can understand the type of planning perspective which brings in creating this infrastructure. Yes, government has been doing good work, and public sector and private sector and PPP, and one interesting thing has happened in Delhi, that apart from encouraging this, retrofitting of vehicle, that policy also has come. So that means the supply of vehicle will increase. And if I draw inference from Helsinki experience, wherein rather than addition of new vehicles, retrofitting of old vehicles and recharging or maybe changing their existing charging system to new charging system will also be coming in future. So as a result, these all are going to take place in a big way. One area, before I do that initial intro part and before I hang up on this, very important is battery recycling will also be required, because right now we are only talking about creating this infrastructure. But mind you, when we talk about so much of sustainability, we cannot forget to underscore the need of recycling of these batteries. So these are the areas which comes to my mind in my initial talk.